Thank you for joining this episode of MPA TV. This is another specialist spotlight. For those that are new to this segment, this is where we connect with a broker who is a master of a tricky deal. And joining us today is Kris Radermacher, broker owner, K2K Mortgage and K2 Consulting. Kris, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to get right into a deal that you were telling me about a few weeks ago. You had mentioned that you were doing ground up construction, bridge loan that ended up getting into Bitcoin to get it across the line, which that deal sounds very tricky.
Crazy. I won't lie. That was my first time ever. I did learn that you can lend on Bitcoin. So I had a client in South Florida that was looking to get at first a $3.2 million bridge loan. That bridge loan was to finish up a home that was going to be sold for about $13.9 million. This is a part of Florida that is a lot of money. And after we got that one done, I got called again stating that a loan for another home that was going to be eventually torn down and rebuilt into another ground up, their loan had passed due. And I originally had met this client because unfortunately another lender wasn't able to get the $3.2 million bridge for him.
Okay.
So that's how I kind of met him. So they called me for the second, which is awesome, right? Because, I guess he saw that I worked so hard on the first and got that done. He gave me the swing up for the second. Well, this is where we're trucking along. Everything's going great. I told him we needed $1.5 million. The lender was only going to give him what the loan was needed. So he had to bring his cash to close, some cash. And we're trucking to the end, and it's literally the Sunday before close. And he tells me he doesn't have the 1 million of the 1.5. And I'm sitting there watching my dreams dash of closing a $12.6 million deal and the commission that went with that. And I'm trying not to lose my brain cells. And I'm sitting there and I suddenly just am like, okay, let's think about what's left on your PFS, which is your, professional financial statement or personal. And I'm like, okay, well, we have XY in a death policy. You're above ground, so can't take that. And going through some other stuff. And I'm like, okay, we have cars and we have Bitcoin left. And I was like, I don't know if I can even do this, but let me go make a call or three. So I called some of my local guys and all around. I got some PML guys in North Carolina. And I just was like, guys, here is my crunch. I need $1 million in 3 days, which, by the way, is not the easiest thing to do, even if I had a normal asset. And I have a car, very luxury, and I have the Bitcoin. What can you do? And they lent on that 1 million on those two.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. So Monday we're getting titles moved and wallets moved. And the cool part about it is the client didn't have to sell their Bitcoin. They took possession of the wallet. They moved over from his wallet. It sat in an escrow wallet, basically, which do not really ask me about Bitcoin because I don't know very much about that. I've learned a ton in the short time, but they held on to it. And when we got everything settled back, they'll release it back to him and he's kept it. So that was kind of the nicety to it, because at the end of the day, he probably would have had to sell it at that time in order to get the cash and finish up the loan. So
so this loan that you were able to get through, obviously jumped through hurdles to get it done.
Yeah.
How did you mentioned that you seemed to be, they were turned down before and they got in touch with you. So what were some of the challenges, and how did it, kind of even get to you in the first place? Can you tell me more about how that connection happened and kind of more about the challenges?
Yeah. So a friend of mine personally knew the builder to the project. And I mean, most people kind of know me anyways to being creative. That's kind of how I built even the mortgage side up. I'm kind of known for doing this stuff others won't. I'm a bulldog. I really believe that if you spend the time, you probably can get more deals done than you realize. It's sad. A lot of people just want the easy fruit, we'll call it. I won't call it low hanging, easy fruit. So, if they can get to A to B in the quickest seconds, why not? So, but yeah, so I met him through this builder and whatnot. And I mean, here's the crazy thing about working in the commercial space. You have a lot of strength in your name when you talk to clients in the mortgage world. When I tell them, please do not spend your money, take on new debt, yada, 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 they know they can't because your debt ratio is affected, and they really know. In the commercial space, it doesn't really work that way. They're asset-based loans, so it's harder to rein a client in. And this client felt the need to spend the money, unfortunately. And so that put me in a predicament. And I will tell you, as most LOs, when your back is against the wall, you can learn very quickly to be creative. And I'm just very fortunate that I have spent the last 5 years curating a whole handful of people that will do and love creative financing as well. So,
Yeah. So obviously you came through where others couldn't. Has your relationship changed with this customer, with the borrower? Have you had repeat business? Are you the
yes,
ultimate
so these
referral
are
source of
two
like,
really
oh,
big
like Kris got this deal where others
yeah.
couldn't? I mean, what does that relationship look like
I mean,
now?
I think at the end of the day, I built more with the people who sent me the loan because obviously, as I was kind of telling you I pay referrals on all the commercial stuff. I paid out about 128,000 last year. I want to double it this year. So I really bought like more love from the people who send me the deal because obviously now they know like I will go to the end. The client as well too, but these are such big items. The repeat of this could be 2 years from now, if that kind of makes sense. I mean, not every day people building $15+ million homes like this. So, but it's the point too, and the fact I got it done and I get to speak about it. I mean, I've gotten other deals from it because people kind of know, like, I will go to the ends of the earth to get something done. So,
Gotcha. Okay. So not that most brokers will encounter this scenario,
not
but
at
would you
all.
have any advice for folks that kind of run into something where there's a challenge up front, more challenges down the line, super close to closing, more hiccups? I mean, any just kind of advice that you would kind of recommend for brokers that
I mean,
may kind of find themselves in a similar scenario?
yeah, my biggest thing, truthfully, is like, don't give up. I mean, go out there and ask the questions because, truthfully, I mean, you may meet someone like me who's done, sat around and curated and come out. I mean, again, that's kind of where my career's been built. I go from A to Z to come back to B to get it done. Or, we have to think a little bit more outside the box to figure out how to skin a cat the same way. So, my advice is hit the streets. I mean, start making the calls and figuring it out. Don't give up on that loan because at the end of the day, I will tell people that sometimes you can't do things. I've been brought stuff where like I've really tried and it just isn't a go. But I built a relationship because I tried. The scariest thing I find for most is, and even in my own career, is if I tell somebody no and I didn't try, they're going to go find somebody else who might, right? Because we all have different resources. Just because I couldn't do it and I exhausted didn't mean in some back alley somewhere there is somebody who would cut that check. So when I send them back on the street, they risk one, maybe getting bad money, right? Like not a real deal, or two, somebody else clearing it and me not getting that business ever back again. So I say, call me.
Gotcha.
Let's work
Okay.
it together. So
Awesome. All right. We'll love hearing it. Yeah. And for those who tuned in or are watching, thank you for joining MPA TV, the Specialist Spotlight. Be on the lookout next Thursday for our latest and greatest episode. And thank you for Kris for joining us today.
thank you guys.